Chief Steve McGarrett of Hawaii Five-0 and Captain Frank Furillo of Hill Street Blues are useful for seeing how our North American idea of the hero changed from the BS 1970s era of Hawaii Five-0 to the BS 1980s era of Hill Street Blues. Chief Steve McGarrett is a classically modern hero of action. He acts out. It is what he does. The camera is always on him. He is hardly ever off screen. He has just one case per week. The audience knows what the case is and also knows by the end of Act 1 who is guilty. Because the audience knows the truth before Steve McGarrett does, there is no mystery. There is only Steve McGarrett. The drama of Hawaii Five-0 is watching the hero in action, watching Steve McGarrett stalk and strut, homing in on the truth. Homing in is the essence of what the classic hero of modern action does. Steve McGarrett is not weighed down by administrative state police chief chores, or by females, or friends, or emotions, or any sorts of conflicting demands on his attention. His field of action is bare of diverting clutter. Thus, Chief Steve McGarrett single-mindedly acts to refashion a truth the audience already knows into an object of law, justice, modern heroism. In contrast, Captain Frank Furillo is what used to be designated a postmodern hero, viz., a hero whose virtues are suited to a more complex and corporate American era, i.e., a hero of reaction. Captain Frank Furillo does not investigate cases or single-mindedly home in. He commands a precinct. He is a bureaucrat, and his heroism is bureaucratic, with a genius for navigating cluttered fields. In each broadcast episode of Hill Street Blues, Captain Frank Furillo is beset by petty distractions on all sides from the very beginning of Act 1. Not one, but 11 complex cases, each with suspects and snitches and investigating officers and angry community leaders and victims' families, all clamoring for redress. Hundreds of tasks to delegate, egos to massage, promises to make, promises from last week to keep. 2 or 3 cops' domestic troubles, payroll vouchers, duty logs, corruption to be tempted by and agonized over. A police chief who's a political parody, a hyperactive son, an ex-wife who haunts the frosted glass cubicle that serves as Frank Furillo's office, whereas Steve McGarrett's BS 1970s office more closely resembled the libraries of landed gentry, hushed behind 2 heavy doors and wainscoted in thick tropical oak, plus a coldly attractive public defendress who wants to talk about did this subject get Mirandized in Spanish, and can Frank stop coming too soon? He came too soon again last night. Maybe he should get into some kind of stress counseling. Plus all the weekly moral dilemmas, and double binds his even-handed bureaucratic heroism gets Captain Frank Furillo into. Captain Frank Furillo of Hill Street Blues is a postmodern hero, a virtuoso of triage and compromise and administration. Frank Furillo retains his sanity, composure, and superior grooming in the face of a barrage of distracting, unheroic demands that would have left Chief Steve McGarrett slumped, unkempt, and chewing his knuckle in administrative confusion. In further contrast to Chief Steve McGarrett, Captain Frank Furillo is rarely filmed tight or full front. He is usually one part of a frenetic moving pan by the program's camera. In contrast, Hawaii Five-0's camera crew never even used a dolly, favoring a steady tripodic close-up on McGarrett's face that today seems more reminiscent of romantic portraiture than film drama. What kind of hero comes after McGarrett's Irishized modern cowboy, the lone man of action riding lonely herd in paradise? Furillo's is a whole different kind of loneliness. The postmodern hero was an heroic part of the herd, responsible for all of what he is part of, responsible to everyone, his lonely face as placid under pressure as a cow's face. The jut-jawed hero of action, Hawaii Five-0, becomes the mild-eyed hero of reaction, Hill Street Blues, a decade later. And, as we have observed thus far in our class, we, as a North American audience, have favored the more stoic, corporate hero of reactive probity ever since. Some might be led to argue trapped in the reactive moral ambiguity of post- and post-post modern culture. But what comes next? What North American hero can hope to succeed the placid Frank? We await, I predict, the hero of non-action, the catatonic hero, the one beyond calm, divorced from all stimulus, carried here and there across sets by burly extras whose blood sings with retrograde amines. Enormous electrolysis-rashed